Hey guys, I know I've been MIA for a while, and it was good for me, but I had to come out of my cocoon for today at least, because I feel this is very important. Life is short. A lot of people are passing away, losing things that are important to them, and it's detrimental to their life, their livelihood, their health, and all of that. There's a lot of important things happening right now. Please stop with the subliminals. Please stop it. Okay? And I'm going to start with the definition of subliminal. First, I'll go with dictionary. See, I have a whole dictionary here. It says, below the threshold of sensation or consciousness. That's a subliminal. I even decided, you know what? Maybe that's not good enough. Maybe subliminal messaging should be defined also. So I went and I found the definition for that. And it says a signal or message designed to pass below the normal limits of perception. Now, here's the facts. Subliminals, it's not being used correctly anyway. Because the person isn't supposed to know you're talking about them. That's the point. So, if your messaging is directed to a person and they know you're talking about them, you did it wrong anyway. You did it wrong. You're doing it wrong. If the person can figure out that you're talking about them, that is not the definition of a sub. That is pretty much just, I don't know what that is. It's too much going on in the world for that. And you could do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. But if anyone is able to figure out who and what you're talking about, that's no longer a sub. That is a direct message to whomever you're speaking to without tagging them, which is going to cause unnecessary negative emotions, unnecessary conflict of interest, unnecessary everything. If you don't want to talk to this person, just don't. If you don't like this person, just don't. Again, do whatever you want, say whatever you want, but I want to know, what is the point of a subliminal message publicly? Is the point to get the person's attention? Is the point to have other people ask you, what are you talking about? Is the point to say what you want, but be, but not deal with the conflict directly because the person you're talking about can't technically prove you're talking about them because you haven't said their name or whatever. What is the goal in doing that? And what does it do for you? Because I feel like when you do that, you're not fully expressing yourself. So now you're going to be tensed up and seem constipated. You're going to be emotionally constipated. Is that an actual thing? I don't know, but it seems like it. Because you're going to get emotionally constipated because you're not saying what's happening. You're not addressing the person or the situation or whatever, but you're still feeling a way about it. Either deal with it completely or drop it because you're not going to deal with it completely. But it's not helping you doing that. It's hurting you more than it's helping you, especially because if you're doing it because you want this person to then come to you and be like, yo, are you talking about me? More than likely, you know who this person is and how their character is and what they're going to do. If you're dealing with someone you know has the pride of, I don't know, or ego, or whatever the case is, if you know they're not going to come to you about it because they don't want to look or feel stupid, you might as well just say whatever you want to say to them directly. Not involve all of us in the world, because we're not going to be, and if you get by chance people agreeing with your message, they're not agreeing with you based on who you're talking about. They're agreeing with you because in that instance, it is what the definition of subliminal is. In that instance, that is subliminal, because they don't know that you're talking about somebody. They just think you're sharing a post or a meme or whatever, and they agree with it. Please don't think that because they agree with it, they're co-signing how you feel about this person. They're they're dealing with it based on their own life and what they have going on and what they feel is accurate to them. They're not agreeing with you. So if you get 30,000 people being like, yeah, that's right, don't get an ego boost, because they don't know what you're talking about directly. And if they do, if they're one of the people who do know what you're talking about and they agreeing with you, still, do not get excited about that. Why? Because at the end of the day, whether somebody agrees with yourself or not, you are still going to be the one dealing with whatever it is that you're talking about by yourself. Why are you still by yourself? Because you're still not talking to this person. You're still not addressing this person. And it really technically doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't seem healthy in the long run. Because if the person never addresses you about whatever you're talking about, because they're gonna, and then there are people who clearly, some people in reality, they don't even know what's wrong. So you're sending subliminals, and they really have no clue. So if you get someone who you're mad about and they like your message, don't automatically think they're being an ass. They really might not know that you have an issue with them. Some people feel if I don't feel there's an issue, then there's no issue. And therefore, in that way, it is a subliminal. Getting upset that they like it because you know that it's about them and they're liking it, that's not their fault. That's your fault, because you're not telling them what the problem is. Keep those things keep those things private and talk about it privately. Once you make it a public realm situation, you're hurting yourself, because you're going to get different responses to what you're doing based on what other people have feelings of, what they know about. And the people that subliminal message is not subliminal to, you're going to cause a problem. The people that you're mad at, but they don't know because you never said anything, but you're saying a sub, they ain't going to know, and you're going to get mad because they don't know. And they should know because you know, and so they should know because you know. But that's not how life works, and that's not how people work either. Really, really look at yourself, if this is worth holding on to, if this is worth being constipated about, because there's too much happening. There's too much happening. Either address it and move on, or don't address it and move on, or move on. Like, move on. Because once you get to the point of subliminals, I don't do subliminal messages. Not because I can't, but because I'm going to tell you about yourself. And why am I going to tell you about yourself? Because I don't feel it's necessary. If I'm going to do that, there's no reason to keep you around. In my lifestyle, the way I live. If I have to do all of that, that means you are causing conflict in me, and I don't have time for that. We're either going to move forward or we're not. And if we're not, we need to move on, go our separate ways, no hard feelings, but it's time to go. And that's it. Why do I live like that? Because I have enough happening to me. I have enough going on with me. I have enough to stress about. I have enough to think about. I have enough to live through. And I don't need unnecessary nonsense. We either want to work it out or we're not. No hard feelings. None. Why? Because if I care about you and want you around, then I'm going to address it with you. And if we don't resolve it, then there's a decision to be had. That's it. That's it. It doesn't make sense. So, maybe I have too much going on that I really just can't do it. I don't know. Everybody lives differently, and I'm not telling anyone what to do, but really consider what I'm saying. Do you really want to be emotionally constipated? Is that really what you need in your life right now? Do you need to just let this go, get a laxative, which is telling the truth about how you feel, being adult enough to address the person directly, and acknowledging that whatever the result is, it might be better for you in the long run? Wouldn't you rather take that laxative than be emotionally constipated? Wouldn't that be better for you? You don't have to agree or disagree. I don't believe in agreeing to disagree. That is not an actual thing. It's either we agree or we don't agree. I'm not going to say, you know what, let's agree that we don't agree. No, I don't want to do that. And maybe that's a real thing. Maybe I have an issue. But the real thing is, if we don't agree, then we need to find a compromise. We need to find a middle ground. Agreeing to disagree does not resolve the issue. Agreeing to disagree does not change the outcome. When you agree to disagree, that means you are saying, we're never going to get through this. This is never going to go away. And we're always going to end up fighting about it because we're not agreeing and we're not making a collective effort to find a way to deal with this. That's what you're really saying when you agree to disagree. Because whatever the disagree is, whatever you're disagreeing about, will continue to come up. So to say you're agreeing to disagree, but that thing keeps coming up and you keep agreeing to disagree, then did you really agree? Because it shouldn't keep coming up if you're agreeing to disagree. It should just be gone. It should no longer be a situation. It should no longer be addressed because you agreed to disagree, so you're not going to talk about it anymore. Ever. It never should come up. It should be accepted that you're going to think that way, I'm going to think this way, and we're just not going to come to this. We're not going to talk about this again. But if you keep talking about it over and over, you're not agreeing to disagree. You are not agreeing, period. You have not made any level of agreement. You have not made any level of compromise. You have not made any level of alliance. You have decided that instead of dealing with this right now, you're going to wait till a later time to deal with it. That's really what that is. Is it worth all of that? I just want to know. So, I'm probably going to go back into my cave and live my best life and mind my business. But I really hope that this reached somebody and that somebody understands that doing subs is hurting you and the other person is going to continue to live their life and you're just going to be mad because they're not acknowledging whatever it is that you're subbing about. And the way that it's being used is not even used correctly, because if anyone is aware of what you're talking about, then you didn't do it correctly anyway. So is this really what you want to do? And not to discredit anyone's feelings, because your feelings matter. But your feelings matter so much that you should address what's happening so you can be at peace with yourself.